Good morning. This is Miriam from Granny Keto. I would like to address something today in today's video that you might hear about a lot when you're on the internet, and it's called If It Fits Your Macros. That's what it stands for. So you might hear it if it fits your macros, or you might hear this IIFYM. And what that is, in my opinion, is just really another version of low carb eating. It addresses quantity and not quality. That means, let's say you have a 20%, no, excuse me, like a 5% of your calories will be carbohydrates, net or total. I think in this system it doesn't matter. And what that is that for you, it might be based on your weight, based on your caloric intake. It might be 20 carbs, it might be 25 or 30 carbs, or you may be young and fit and not have any metabolic issues. And so you might be able to process, 40 or 50 carbs. But the point is that when I say it's quantity, and that's why I think that it's more a low carbohydrate diet than anything. If you take a candy bar and you have 30 carbs of that candy bar, and believe me, some candy bars could be 40 or 50. So let's say you say, okay, well, I'm going to have just meat today, and I will have fat, and I'll have my coffee with fat in it, and I really want this candy bar, and it fits my macros. And so I'm just going to have this 40 carb candy bar or a protein bar or a meal replacement bar. What happens is that if you take in your carbohydrate allowance this way, you run the risk of not eating healthy foods, and you might be missing out on vitamins and minerals. What most ketoers do is, if they have carbs, they will have it in the form of vegetables. If they have berries, they'll have berries. There will be carbs in dairy products. That would be not butter. Butter doesn't have the carbs, but heavy cream would have carbs. Cheeses would have carbs. If you're having cottage cheese or yogurt, those would have carbs. Even eggs have carbs. But the point is if you're cutting out everything except for a candy bar and the few of the natural carbs in these foods, then you are not going to get the vitamins and minerals you need for the day for your food. The other thing is that sugar raises insulin, and insulin is the fat storage hormone. So even though you're taking in less sugar, because your carbohydrates are limited, you still have that sugar in your system. When you eat a keto uh, diet based on quality and not on quantity, you will not be having sugar in your body, and that's what is going to fix your insulin resistance, your type 2 diabetes, your metabolic syndrome. And it will also help you eliminate fat. First of all, you will be able to lose weight that you already have, because of the way that the insulin works, and it gets and not and raised insulin keeps the fat in your fat cells. So lowering your insulin will get rid of that fat that you already have stored. Also, sugar equals insulin again, which equals inflammation. And this inflammation can be in your gut, your joints, your heart, other muscles. So you may never truly get healthy eating IIFYM if you're including your cakes and your cookies and your candies. And this is sort of, have your keto and have your cake too. And the reason why they're calling themselves, one of the ways of doing keto, is because they keep the macros within that 5 to 10% range, and then moderate protein, and then high fat. So that on a piece of paper, equation wise, it looks like keto. But they're not paying attention to the quality, they're paying attention to the quantity. Okay, now the other thing that I'm really interested in is sugar equals aging, also because of the inflammation properties. And I don't know. I think I'm more vain about my age than my weight. I always have. I was been using, Origins moisturizer and products since it came on the market like 20 or 30 years ago. And I take care of my skin and I use sunscreen and all of that sort of stuff. I ate like a pig and weighed, I don't even want to tell you, but my skin was always good. So the aging is also just something to keep in mind if you're eating this way. And so the reason I equate this to low carb is because when I did my video on the transitions, and I'll deal with each step separately, but I mentioned with low carb is that if your only goal is to be low carb and not even headed on the keto train, if your goal is to eat low carb, yes, you can have your grains and your legumes and your sugars and your baked goods. You just keep it low. Low carb is higher carb than this. This is really very low carb because they put themselves in the keto camp. So anyway, I don't know anybody who's done this, and so I don't do it and I don't recommend it because of the quality involved. And so if you do IIFYM, you're welcome to, leave a comment and say that you've done it and that if it's been successful for you. I'm not looking for, the haters and the flamers and you said don't do that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't do it. I don't recommend it. I have my reasons for that. It's because quality counts. You need your vitamins and your minerals, and you tend to get that, you tend to miss out on that if your choice of carbs is bread and candy bars, and you want to watch the sugar insulin connection for all of this going on. And it's just really important to keep your insulin low. Technically, when you say keto, it's very, very low carbs, moderate protein, and high fat. And so if you've heard this, yes, you can eat very, very low carb, moderate protein, and high fat, but it is a quality issue. And I urge you to stay away from this. Like, stay away from the permission to eat sugar and grains and all of that. And I want to say one more thing that has nothing to do with inflammation and all of that sort of stuff. But if you don't work to get the sugar out of your system, you will always have craving for sugar. And if you're eating this, you say, well, that's okay, because if I have craving for sugar, I will have a piece of candy. If I have craving for carbs, I will have a piece of bread. But if your goal is to cut that out, then don't even have a little bit. It won't take long to lose those sugar and carb cravings. But if you keep feeding it, if you keep feeding the monster, if you keep feeding the fire and keep it going, you'll never find the freedom that I feel that you can find on keto. So anyway, I hope this answers the question, and please know it's here because I wanted you to know about it. It is a granny keto question, but it's also something that I think everybody doing keto should know about so that they don't fall into that belief that, oh, I'm perfectly healthy and I can have my cake and my candy too. So advise, stay away from this. If you're going to do this, then just do low carb, which gives you a little more carb. It gives you, it's a little bit easier. This, I would think, it's easy in that you can have what you want. There's no restrictions, but I think it's difficult because it keeps those cravings going. So that's just to answer the question. My next video will be on what is lazy keto. There's all these terms out there, and if you're going to be successful, then you also need to know what things are called and what they mean. So anyway, please visit me, grannyketo.com. There's a feature on there. There's a couple of features I want to tell you about. There's an Ask Granny feature. Like if you just ask me, what does IIFYM stand for? I would just shoot back a quick answer, not this whole video, but it might inspire me to do a video. So send a quick question, and I also have a free guide called Dancing with Keto, and that's on how to learn how to do keto without about the weighing, the measuring, the tracking. You have to start out because you need to know what you're doing, but it sort of gives you a little bit of that freedom. And that is something we're going to discuss in our next video. Thank you, and thank you for watching. And I hope to see you on my Facebook page. Bye bye.